Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today coming at you with a mini album process video. This paper bag mini album came in the Cocoa Daisy paper and ink collection, and it's been sitting on my desk since I put it together in the beginning of, oh my gosh, probably in the beginning of January sometime, probably at the end of December, not sure. But I noticed that as I started working on my album for this year, I had printed the photos of us in Cades Cove. I had printed multiples because I wasn't sure which sizes I wanted to use. So I had all these extra photos of that day printed already, and I decided to put them in this adorable mini album. So I've already gone through and made this mini album, and now I've also added the photos in there, and so I'm going through and I'm adding cards, and I'm adhering the photos to some of the paper bags, just this initial step to make sure that everything works together and there's no like white backing on any of my photos that will need to be covered up later. So I normally do albums like this in batch steps, so I will do all of that at once, and then I will go back and I will start adding in filler cards or other things like that, and then I will go in and do the embellishing. So right now I'm just doing the initial step. Backing this photo in a 4x6 card. Those two photos are already adhered back to back, and they are in a plastic wrapper bag thing that I had included. I just have that one in there. I have two bags in there, but I end up taking one out. I have two of these photos that are cut in half and sort of flip independently of each other. They're two horizontal photos. We already saw the other one, but this one I'm adhering to this tag because I've noticed that these, when they're 3x4 like this, they're a little bit small and they're a little bit hard to distinguish from each other, that they need to be flipped independently of each other. They kind of just want to flip together. So I'm trying to give them more weight so that you can see that there are two different pages that need to be flipped. So I'm just going to cut down this 4x6 card, and everything that I'm using is in the Cocoa Daisy paper and ink collections. This was a paper add-on, so it's a lot of these cards are from the Goldenrod collection by One Canoe 2. It was a 12x12 cut apart paper with all these vertical 4x6s, and it's actually really convenient that they're in there because I don't normally use vertical 4x6s in my pocket scrapbooking, but these are so beautiful that I would want to use them, so it's great that I'm putting them in this album because otherwise I'm not sure what I would do with them. So now I'm going to go through the die cuts and start adding in my embellishments. I decided to put this Hello January on the cover, and I'm doing that with red line tape so that it'll be nice and stuck. And I'm going to fast forward through all of the sorting. Now I'm going to start decorating. So I want to add in both, decorative small word bits and all that, but I also want to add in some of these bigger pieces to make these pages a little bit heavier and more impactful than they are just standalone. So the point of this paper bag album generally is to put things in the pockets that the bags create, but I don't love that. I don't love having things hidden in my album. That's just not the kind of scrapbooker I am. It would probably be really great for things like journaling. That could be really convenient, but I'm just going to use all these paper bags as a just as a background, like you would cardstock instead. And the way that I feel about it, it just makes it so that there's different textures in the album instead of everything just having a patterned paper background, which I think is fun. So I covered up the branding strip on that card. That was the paper and ink branding card But I really love that card, but you know, the words paper and ink in this album don't make any sense. So I covered up the branding card with a different word strip, trying to figure out what to put on this 3x4, and I end up putting a silver foil word strip, and I believe that was the one that said it was a January day, which was perfect because it was. Trying to find something to cover up this ring on the back, and the problem is that I have a card right there that says squeeze the day, which means that there's words, and I don't want like two dueling word arts next to each other. I tried to make it so that each spread had a photo, but some of these spreads ended up without photos, and so I don't want, you know, two different phrases just right next to each other. So instead I put a rose there. I'm going to add something to this page. Try not to do the cop-out thing and put a journaling card on every page. Say hello to my husband. Something will go here. I think I'll add some paper here. Cover up that writing for one thing. There we go. So now it's no longer a paper bag. I'm going to add this black vellum rose in because of the black on the tab right there. I felt like that black tab, black and cream tab, was a little bit out of place. Instead of leaving this as a 4x6, I cut down the pear. Next I'm going to, I have this one picture that I haven't put in yet that I'm trying to find a place for. And I kind of don't want to just do it the way that I've been doing everything else and just throw it in there in the rings. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to put that. First I am adding paper to the back of this glassine bag. A lot of roses getting used. These roses are really beautiful. There's a lot of them in the package that came in the classified collection, so I'm trying to use a lot of them up. I'm going to trim down this photo, and I'm going to make it less than a 3x4 even. So I'm going to layer some paper underneath it. This paper scrap is perfect. Matches that yellow flower really nicely. I'm just going to adhere this to that brown paper bag. Another tab. I thought about putting that today I'm excited about everything on the manila tag, but really that is a definite Finn phrase. Like Finn is the one that's going to be excited about everything, so it needed to go with him. I abandoned that page for a moment. I'll come back to it and add something over that leaf. Decided to add a tab to the tag. And I do put that tag in there as well, but it's going to come back off. I decided to put this blue paper on this tag, and I'm still not quite sure that I end up loving the final product, but you can't win them all. So this set of pictures is in a plastic bag, so I want a way to seal the bag without sealing the bag, just because I don't want the picture to fall out. So I'm going to just staple this on here. And of course the staple messes up, but whatever. I'm going to add another butterfly to this butterfly card. Still messing with those staples. Now I'm going to start adding in, I'm almost to the end of the pages, so I'm going to start adding in my embellishment to the photos as well, which is normally my last step. Just going to add some of these to the tabs. Then I remembered I had all of these DIY Your Scraps clusters that I hadn't used. which of course it's pretty much too late to incorporate a lot of them, but I'm going to anyway. Lots of tags in this album already, so trying to make it work so that it's not too tag heavy, but of course I just put a tag on top of a tag there, so I don't know how successful I was. I love the addition of navy, that navy blue, into this album. It's really a perfect color scheme. So now I decided I wanted to rearrange some of those, so I cut it out because it took me forever. But I've rearranged some of the cards so that it's not too repetitive now. So I'm going to add in some of these embellishment clusters and finish off this album. Leave myself some places for journaling as well. I have some cards built in for journaling already, but I have a bunch of journaling clusters that I will add in. And I don't do my journaling before I take the photos because I'm not quite sure what I want to say yet, because I'm not quite sure where this album is going. I think it's probably going to end up with a grandparent, but I have to decide before I can decide what I'm writing. So this photo is just, it keeps sticking together and it's not flipping the way that I want it to, so I'm going to add a couple of really heavy chipboard tabs back to back here so that it's a little bit easier to differentiate and they don't stick together as much. Whoa, 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 all the flipping. The one hazard about this album is that you have to constantly open and close those rings, otherwise it falls apart. That's no good. But I'm getting close to done. Just adding in all of my embellishment, trying to use up. I've used the heck out of this kit. Like I always do, I really work these kits down to the bare bones. So I'm just trying to use up a bunch of these embellishments, especially the embellishment clusters, because once you move past working with a kit specifically, sometimes it's hard to incorporate embellishment clusters made from that kit with other product. So I like to make sure I use up my embellishment clusters as much as I can. Try to figure out what's going on this photo. Something. Put embellishments on everything except the photo. That's going to be my plan to deal with this. Oh look, another tag. Need something with this photo of Finn. Oh, I finally cover up that leaf with a flower. It's something here. Problem is that there's that big word art right there again. So I'm just going to incorporate this other black vellum flower. And then these really pretty gold leaves. Need something on this photo of Finn and Joe. I really wanted to use that, but now I gotta cover up the back. Pulled out that plastic bag that didn't end up getting used. I'm gonna add some circles to this photo just to make it more interesting. Peeling the backing off of the chipboard so that it's not as thick. This album actually doesn't end up being too crazy thick because of the way that the rings work. You know, there's no reason for it to have to quote-unquote close nicely. So this is a great place to use up some of those heavier embellishments. I'm going to start adding in some of this black baker's twine to these tags. And I think that's going to be my last step. Making sure everything has baker's twine on the tags. And I really like the way that finishes off the album and makes it feel really textured and cohesive. I don't in this video, but I go in and replace the very first album in the tags string as well. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. And if you don't already, go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. My handle is @TracyMReed, and there is a link in the description box below. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out Cocoa Daisy. I know I use a lot of Cocoa Daisy products because I'm on their team, but I wouldn't be on their team if I didn't love their products. I often get asked what my favorite kit club is, and it is definitely Cocoa Daisy because of the variety that you get in your collections every month and how different it is every month. A lot of times my complaints with kit clubs is that it can get very repetitive. They reuse designs, etc. And Cocoa Daisy doesn't do that. So I'll see you next time. Thank you!